of where it says Bezim the Malta Rabbi Yaakov Shaviyah at the time that, well, I guess that he means the beginning of this, and he has the little word Tishrei, because I see that now developing slowly a taste for the Makoros V'Tziyunim, what's going on there. Exactly what is the Girsa over here? That's the one question. Zimda Demata Tishrei, Yarcha Shaviyah, Mishtatkim Yarche Elaine. We find these months Tracer, and then there are those who hold that it should be Tleisar, 12 or 13. Tleisar Ilah, Mispatre, Tarai Derachme, and it opens up the gates of Rahmanas. Bahachu Zimda Dirshu Hashem at that moment. Dirshu Hashem, I guess Dirshu was that they sought Hashem, Bihimatzo Kasiv, in the place that you can find. That's a pasuk over there. Dirshu Hashem, Bihimatzo Kasiv. Okay, so let's go over here and we'll start off on number Zion at the top, and then we'll read along and try to pick up some of these notes, see how well I can read them. Let's see. Bezimda Demata Yarka Shaviyah. So we have some comment on this on number Kuf Yud down below. So let me get my thing a little bit closer so I can see it better. Whoops. Okay. He said Benednidfis Garis Khan Demata Tishrei Yarka Shaviyah. So this is what we have published here. Vihindach of the Milas Tishrei, listed b'difusim Cremona. Let's see how we pronounce it. Kadmonim. I'm sorry, reading it wrong. But b'difusim Kadmonim, Mantova, which are Mantoba, Cremona, is Salzbach, in Amsterdam, etc. All these different places, they didn't have this phrase. So he said v'noisa b'defus kushta, so it was added on into this the devus of kushta, and he says, I guess that's the date there. V'haboim achrav, so then it got put in. Aval arizach b'hagol's derek emes lo garis milazu, he didn't read this mila. V'chein near my Rashbi, who says zachav shabir kan b'zel deshonu pirish b'chodesh. He said the pirish like this: b'chodesh tishrei, which is, of course, Shvi Adkan. Mashpadalo Garis Bifnim Tishrei. So I guess like Bifnim, I guess that's the word. He didn't have that word. Ela Yarcha Shavior. But the Kach Hosif Pirish Shuhu Tishrei, so therefore it adds that word in there. Ve'etzem Girsis Tishrei Tzarch Bir. So the Kevin Amr the head Tishrei Amar what? Hutzrach lehosif yarcha shaviyah, so that nobody should get confused. Give me 1 second. Okay. So let me see. We're back. Okay, that was number Kuf Yud. It's so what he's doing here is just tracing what we're reading up above. Is that exactly how is it? What is the Girsa? Where did it's, I guess its origins, like you talk about, when was this, like 500 years ago, something like that. Okay, let's go to number, after Kuf Yud, it reads up above, Kasher Megia Siman Techilas Chodesh Hashvi, Shehu Chodesh Tishrei, V'haila B'Saras Yimei Yomim HaRishonim, specifically that, Shebein Rosh Hashanah, the Yom Kippurim, Hanikroim Asaris Yimei Tshuva, that's what they're called. And there's a note here, like Kuf Yod Aleph, and I think, to a certain extent, he's going on the same, he's going to keep analyzing these sentences. He said, Rei B'Shari Ma'amari Rashbi, he says, Zelashono, he says, Uvizoner Harakia, there we go. He says, Vizel Lashono, Hahu Zimna Darshu Hashem Bihimatzo Kasev. Pirish, B'chodesh Tishrei, Shehu Shvi, Be'asara Yomim, Shebein Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Okay, just to make a bill of those, he says, okay. Okay, so Ad Khan. V'chein rei b'shar ma'amarim hizach l'marchu, Shabir kan v'zel d'shoda b'haku zimda ch'bedarshach Hashem b'himatzel. Again, where it could be found. Hey, when is the time? I guess it was just say trying to understand what he's getting at. He says, Dirshu Hashem, or seek Hashem b'himatzel, the place where you can find. When is that? When are those times? Hey, yemei tshuva. Those are the asaras yemei tshuva. Shebein Rosh Hashanah, the Yom Kippurim, Ad Kan, Umashma, and it applies from there. Masha Arbach Bakan, Yarcha Shaviyah. Yarcha Shaviyah, so he wants to say that phrase is Mashba B'techilas Chodesh Shvi. Behind the Saras, you remember the Rishonim, Shel Chodesh Tishrei, Masha Arbach Zim the Demata, that what the time, that's when the Hashem is close to us, Ritzon Olomer, because you Agir Techilas Chodesh Shvi, when you get to the beginning of the 7th month. There's other things about that, so trying to say that this wants a point, particularly at that time. So now we go to number Kuf Yud Aleph. After that, it says Mishtatche Yarche Elaine. So we'll try to put these together, try to darshan these words. Mishtatche, this is where you find these months. Let's see what he means. And we'll go to Kuf Yud Bet and Kuf Yud Gimel. So Kuf Yud Bet says, "B'defus mukaf," in the defus, the original publication, or maybe it's ours. I guess it's ours. He says mukaf b'sogrin. It's surrounded by brackets. Milas Yarche looks like that. V'hu b'defus kushta, but that's the one that came out of Istanbul. About defus kadmona, but before that. So he's saying that the earliest ones, and we've seen this many times already, were this place in Italy called Mantoba. It sounds like Mount Goodness, actually, if you look at it. It was I guess you could say Mount, I don't know. Cremona, this other place, Cremona. And then again, he's got this litany, he says, in Salzburg and Amsterdam, all of these different places before it didn't have it. It's below Sogrim. So he said, excuse me, they didn't have the Sogrim. So he said, became who begos Derek Emes. Also, this Derek Emes, I think it's the first time I heard about it. It's from the Ari that he's saying. Number Kuf Yud Gimel, b'defus, so the nidvus, and what we have, I guess, in front of us. Garis Kami reads Kam Elon Tracer. These are Tlacer, and then his question is a Tracer Tlacer. Ba'alma law. So he said Ba'alma law. It says base Hanistaros who b'defus Rishon. Excuse me, Hanischalos who b'defus Rishon. And again, going back to Mantoba and like that. Avala Rizel b'gagos Derek Eris. So apparently this is, this is what we say, a strong case, because this Derek Eris has the proper readings here. Malchut kol zeh, he raised other Vagaris and Yarche Elon ba'amri law kamuba bifnim. Behind Mishum the kol mab kol zeh miyoser, it's extra, you don't need it. They came in Shemota become al sif hakodim, so it's musaf. So excuse me, it's referring to the previous idea that we're talking about. When we talk about these 13 Tikuni Dikna that were stated previously, we're talking about the 13. Bir Besa Girsos Tracer Vitlacer, you see. So if you go through all of that, you see that there's actually two different texts. Could either 12 or 13. Gam Yachad, Ray Beferish Marisa Rook, so let's go over there, and he says, Kanvazel Lashono. Yoski Sharsham Bederek Iker Hem Yud Gimel Chavayus. So he says their root, Bederek Iker, if you're looking at the root of the root, I guess the Sharsham, or where they're coming from, Hem Yud Gimel Chavayus, there's actually 13 Chavayus there. Is there Omer Tracer for this where he says excuse me, I read it wrong. Oh boy. He says there's actually only 12 Chavayus there. So that's the reason why you say Tracer. But then if you add in the Tlacer, then that gives you the kol. So this is also I have to read this again just to try to understand where Ekia came from. Again, he says, Umifnei Shamazel Lazel Tikud Yud Gimel HaKolalam, which incorporates all the 12 at the same time. Shu Besod Ekia. So I don't know, but I'm thinking that Ekia means the full potential that will come out. I will be. So he says, just my thinking about what you could say. How is it that Ekia corresponds to the 13th tikkun? I can go also and say like this. Well, Ekia really refers to Ima. Ima is nursing off of the 13th tikkun. Exactly how that works, but I haven't seen anything else before. He said, he gam came nimidar, so therefore winds up being incorporated or counted along with them. The Zeh Omer Gam Cain, so therefore, the Gan, yeah, that is Cain. Gam Cain places, so therefore they also added into 13, so the number 13, because it's 12, which develops into the Im Cain, Hara Yud Beis, and Yud Gimel Ad Kan. That's the reason why you need both of those. Okay, so I guess we'll stop right here, Baruch Hashem, and we'll go on to, we'll go on to the Sifra D'tzniuta in the time that we have remaining. And once again, the Sifra D'tzniuta, after I learned, I don't know, whatever the last thing we did together was, I felt like I really didn't understand it. I did it again for myself. But let's see where we're at right now. I think that we did number Yud down below. I think I didn't really understand number Yud down below very well. Before we get to the next piece, which is Bir Inyan Adormita, that's on the next page. He said, let's just read this here, because I think I made a lania this morning. I can understand it better. He said, but you read this Alabria L'seis Mazun La Rosecha Asher Sham. And incidentally, you know, like, while I'm going, we should probably start learning, you know, the Megillah, or the Purim. Yeah. Over there, my recollection is that it never really talks about Esther. It always talks about Mordechai, because Mordechai is the Ataras Yisod that goes out, that breaks through on Purim, let's say, so to speak. But if Esther, and he's saying that here, is if Esther is the Malchus, with that aspect of Malchus that goes into Bria, and it feeds her, how does that all go together? You know, what's the sequence over there? Well, I don't know. But anyway, here it goes like this. V'yeredis el Bria the says Mazel na Rasecha Shesham. So that's Esther, right? Esther's doing that. Yesh the ayin, so you have to look like this. Yesh, his question is, Yesh the Rachel Koach, Liten Shef, how can she give anything the Narasecha Kabar Atach Kabar Ata Ba'od Leah, like it's still nighttime. Hello, Hasederhu, 1 second. The real order of how this is supposed to do, Hashefa Yored Bezivig the Brach Birchasim Shalom, that's in Chakras. Velachem Mekam Ubalatzion, then when you come to Balatzion, I really thought it was Ashrei. But okay, but he says Balatzion. Maskil Shef Leired La'olam Abriya, the chef is going to go down into Olam Abriya. Ve'ech Amrina, so how can we say Hocha? The Gavar B'Laila Yesh Rachel Shefa Litan Alabriya. So she's already gave it out. You're much later. Now I see problems with this because the nighttime is really the beginning of the next day, and it's not really a continuation of what happened in the morning. That's what I was thinking, but he doesn't go that way. He says that how's she going to have Shefa? She gave her Shefa already out at Sim Shalom, and if there was any left, she gave it out at Mincha. So over Shem and Sason, he says that he has an opposite kind of approach. He says that Kamen Shefa Yored Gevar B'Boker, my Yoredata, what's there's left. It sounds like the same thing to me. Maybe I'm missing it a little bit. He says that Bibir Shem and Sason, so he comes and explains like this. The Yeshdam Kamba B'Kamba B'Chinas Yiri, there's a Shefa, there's different kinds of ways that the Shefa could fall down. He says, well, what is that? He says, the Hine Noida, because it's known like this. He says it's Noda. Let's see where the Hine Noida, the Bia de Atzilus. So here we're back into the Bia of Atzilus again. Malchus de Atzilus. Yardin La'olam Bia. So I just still trying to figure out what is Bia D'tzniuta yet so far. I guess it's what? It's the nigh of it's the let me get this. It's the nefesh, ruach, and neshama. It's the Naran. Okay, I got the rest wrong. It's the Naran of Bria. Now, how does that go? It's the lower lights. So almost Bria, Bia, the Saya Baravodas of Berurim in order to help on the Berurim Baboker, but defeat the chakras Olam Yehudov, Yachdav, Beruria Bia. So the Berurim that are coming out, then the Hanivrorim Ba'ozach Yom Im Habia D'Chatzilus V'Chavamach D'Chatzilus. So he's saying the lower part of the light goes down, picks up some of the light, helps in the Berurim process, comes back up. V'Olam Ma'olam the Olam, and it keeps going up. Ad she B'Shetafilu Shmona Esrei Olam the Mebukom B'Tzilus. So what are we telling me here? Then when you come to the Shabeach, Yordim Habia D'Tzilus in B'Shefet the Olamos Bias, and then everything, the Bia of D'Tzilus, which once again is the Naran of D'Tzilus, goes back down. Aval HaMalchus D'Tzilus, but the Malchus of D'Tzilus, what happens to that? Nishaeris Lamala Adalila remains there until nighttime. So that comes back up, everything goes back down, and it's no longer there. This is to answer the question of what Shefet does she have, because Malchus really remains in its Tzilas, whereas everything else goes back down, and she stays there for the rest of the day, and her potential of what she has to give, I guess his idea is that's what she feeds her Narosacha with. Of the Lila, Yeredis and Malchus the Matababia, the says in Mazal Narosacha Kamavor Khan, as explained here. Okay, I guess that's it for today.
Okay.
And we'll see you tomorrow, Mitzvah.